Hello, dear listeners and cherished audience members. Based on the story I deeply admire from the channel, Tu Tien and Jack, I humbly request the permission of Tu Tien and Jack, as well as all of you who follow and support the Tu Tien channel, to write a novel inspired by your story. The following is the novel, titled, "The Darkness of 10 Years Has Been Revealed." I wish you all joy and happiness with your families. Thank you all very much. Arrogance is always the sharpest blade to sever the thread of caution. Ton, intoxicated by the thrill of victory, remained blissfully unaware that every stroke of luck, every handshake he had just exchanged, was merely part of a perfectly orchestrated performance. Chapter 1. The final trap. Ton sat opposite director Hugh and engineer Luan, a sense of victory surging within him like a rising tide. He flipped through the pages of the file, his triumphant smile never once fading. "Actually, this is a very important project to me," Hugh said, his voice calm and steady. "Based on Luan's recommendation regarding your company's supervision team, I have a lot of trust. I hope that all three parties, the investor, the contractor, and the supervisor, will complete the work well, exactly as stated in the signed contract." Ton puffed out his chest, his eyes brimming with confidence. "Rest assured, Mr. Hugh. My company handles nothing but major projects. For your project, I guarantee both the schedule and the quality." Ton took a sip of tea, savoring the taste of power. 10 years of facing off against Jack, and he had finally surpassed him. The biggest profits from this project were now his. Everything was in the palm of his hand. "I am hesitating on a few issues here," Heel spoke up, pushing the file toward Ton. "Because of the construction timeline. I'm afraid your side won't be able to meet it." Ton laughed, a smile full of disdain. "Mr. Hugh, don't worry. My company is a massive enterprise. We guarantee the schedule for you. You have nothing to worry about." Luan, who had been sitting silently until now, let a cold glint flash through his eyes. "It's okay, Mr. Hugh. I've spoken with Ton, and I trust him. Let's sign and get to work." Ton looked at Luan, feeling a supreme sense of euphoria. He reached out, his hand trembling slightly with excitement. Director Hugh put pen to paper, signing with a sharp scratch on the contract. Ton signed as well. Black ink on white paper, the deal was done. "Goodbye, gentlemen," Ton said, his voice dripping with condescension. "I look forward to our cooperation." Just then, the mobile phone sitting on the window ledge let out a small beep beep. Tu Tien hurriedly ran in, her heart pounding. Was it Jack calling back? But no, it was just a preset calendar reminder. Tanmin Charity. An appointment with the children in the Highlands. Tu Tien read the notification, her face showing clear worry. With things as they are, how will he make it back in time? She clearly remembered the look in his eyes and Jack's warm smile when he spoke of this charity trip. He had promised the children. Jack always honored his promises. He is on a mission all the way at the border right now. How can he get back in time? The children must be looking forward to seeing him. Tu Tien fell silent, a thought suddenly crossing her mind. Jack often said, "A promise must be kept, even if the one who promised is absent." Maybe I should go to the children in Jack's place. After all, I can fulfill his promise for him. I know how happy he is every time he talks about those kids. After a moment of hesitation, she made up her mind. Tu Tien picked up the phone and tried calling Jack again, but she only received the cold response of the operator. Please press 1 to leave a message. I still couldn't reach him in the end. Tu Tien put the phone down. She knew Jack usually bought cakes and gifts in the city, but she wanted to do something more special. She looked out into the garden. Maybe I'll make some cakes. That's it. I'll bake some cakes myself to bring to the children. Tu Tien immediately got to work on the preparations. She took the remaining flour, then went out to the garden, carefully digging up fresh cassava roots. She washed the cassava clean, her hands moving nimbly and skillfully. She soaked the mung beans, then began steaming the cassava and beans. The aroma of cooked cassava filled the kitchen, bringing a sense of warm peace. A stark contrast to the events unfolding in the lavish city. If only he were home to do this with me, it would certainly be happier, she told herself, a gentle but fleetingly sad smile appearing on her lips. She meticulously prepared the cassava cakes, kneaded the dough for the fried donuts, and skillfully shaped each one into a perfect round. Every cake held the love and care she felt for Jack, and the promise he had made. While Tu Tien was meticulous shaping the cakes. In an opulent skyscraper in the city center, the blazing office lights stood in stark contrast to the dim, gentle glow of the countryside kitchen. Tone, a man dressed in a luxurious suit with a face full of arrogance and gloating, sat in the director's chair. He had just finished a call, savoring the sweet taste of victory. He stood up, walked to the large window, and looked down at the bustling city below. His lips curled into a smirk, filled with malice. Jack, you're smart, but this time you lost. From now on, there is only me, Tien muttered, his voice trembling with the satisfaction accumulated over many years. 10 years, Jack. Finally, I stand above you. He strutted back to the conference table. Director Hugh and Engineer Lewin, two crucial partners in the collaboration project with Ton Fat Company, were waiting. What about the director of the collaboration project? How did Director Hugh and Engineer Lewin respond to our latest adjustments? Ton asked his secretary. They seem very impressed with your construction plan. And Mr. Lewin appears to be leaning towards our side as well. Ton nodded, looking pleased, and signaled for the secretary to leave. He knew Jack had been eliminated from the game. Jack's company was facing serious difficulties, and every effort Jack had made over the last 15 years had been sabotaged by Ton, piece by piece, just so he could climb to this position. He shook hands with Director Hugh, his attitude polite but concealing the smugness of a total victor. Thank you for looking into my company. I hope our cooperation will be sustainable. Ton was at the peak of fame and power. He was certain that with Jack removed, no one was left to block his path to advancement. He had no idea that, even within those simple cassava cakes in the countryside, a different plan was being silently perfected. Chapter 1. The final trap. Ton sat opposite Director Hugh and Engineer Lewin, a sense of victory swelling inside him like a rising tide. He flipped through the pages of the file, his triumphant smile never once fading. Actually, this is a very important project to me, Hugh said, his voice calm. Based on Luan's recommendation regarding your company's supervision team, I have a lot of trust. I hope that all three parties, the investor, the contractor, and the supervisor, will complete the work well, exactly as stated it in the signed contract. Toyn puffed out his chest, his eyes brimming with confidence. Rest assured, Mr. Hugh. My company handles nothing but major projects. For your project, I guarantee both the schedule and the quality. He took a sip of tea, savoring the taste of power. 10 years of facing off against Jack, and he had finally surpassed him. The biggest profits from this project were now his. Everything was in the palm of his hand. I am hesitating on a few issues here. Hugh spoke up, pushing the file toward Toyn. Because of the construction timeline. I'm afraid your side won't be able to meet it. Toyn laughed, a smile full of disdain. Mr. Hugh, don't worry. My company is a massive enterprise. We guarantee the schedule for you. Rest assured. Luan, who had been sitting silently until now, let a cold glint flash through his eyes. It's okay, Mr. Hugh. I've spoken with Toyn, and I trust him. Let's sign and get to work. Toyn looked at Luan, feeling a supreme sense of euphoria. He reached out, his hand trembling slightly with excitement. Director Hugh put pen to paper, signing with a sharp scratch on the contract. Toyn signed as well. Black ink on white paper, the deal was done. Goodbye, gentlemen, Toyn said, his voice dripping with condescension. I look forward to our cooperation. The critical struck just as Toyn was standing up to leave. A man in a police uniform entered the room. Everyone in the room looked surprised. Let me introduce myself. I am Thu, from the Provincial Criminal Investigation Department. Is there anyone named Toyn here? The smile on Toyn's lips froze. He was confused. I am Toyn. What is the matter? We have received a report regarding your company. I invite you to come to the headquarters to clarify a few issues. Is there some mistake? Toyn stammered, looking at Luan and Hugh, hoping for support. We are in the middle of signing a contract. We are not mistaken. There is a clear denunciation regarding your company, specifically concerning tax evasion and serious legal violations, Officer Thu replied coldly. Toyn was stunned. He tried to resist, arguing, How can that be? My company always abides by the law. We have a decision to summon you to the headquarters for questioning. Toyn stood frozen. At that moment, a figure stepped in from outside, his gaze sharp and filled with integrity. It was Jack. He had returned. Jack, why are you here? Toyn shouted, his eyes shifting from shock to pure hatred. Did you sabotage my business? Beside Jack, a young man stepped forward. It was Vinh. Vinh looked straight at Toyn's face, unafraid. Your wrongdoings have been reported to the police. Jack is my family's benefactor. I could not stand by and watch. Toyn collapsed in defeat. He looked at Jack with eyes bloodshot with rage. The truth behind the hatred Toyn was being led away. But Jack asked Officer Thu for a few minutes to speak privately with his old schoolmate. Toyn, Jack asked, his voice low and pained. Could you tell me why you did something like this to my family? You still dare to ask? Toyn burst into a bitter, utterly venomous laugh. It's always the same. You always have to be better than me in everything. You didn't even have to compete. You didn't have to play dirty to win. So why did you do this to me? Tuan screamed. 15 years of suppressed jealousy pouring out. In everything, you are always superior to me. Jack stared straight at Tuan, stunned. You've ruined your future. Did you do all this because of your feeling of defeat? Tuan lowered his face, then pointed at Jack. It was your sister. May. Why? Why did it have to be your sister? Jack was startled. Tuan, what does May have to do with any of this? Tuan confessed, his voice trembling. I saw you and her together. I liked May. I noticed May since we started school, but you blocked me. I thought you were in a relationship with her. Jack's eyes welled up. 10 years of hatred, 10 years of life or death struggles in the business world, all because of one agonizing misunderstanding. Tone. Jack composed himself. May is my little sister. When May started school, the reason I paid attention to her was because I am her older brother, and it was my responsibility to look after her, to ensure she didn't date too early and affect her studies. When Tuan heard this, he trembled violently. His entire world seemed to crash down at his feet. Hatred had driven him this far, all because of a promise to his parents and Jack's innocent care for his sister, which Tuan had tragically misinterpreted as love. The return to peace after Tuan was led away, Jack turned back and embraced Luan and Heel. Thank you, friends. I never imagined that an old schoolmate of mine could treat me this way. Luan patted Jack on the shoulder. The business world is a battlefield, Jack. You have to be more careful. Jack nodded. This was a costly lesson. He thanked you, who had agreed to participate in this risky charade, and Vin, the benefactor who had bravely come forward as a witness. I've been away for too many days. It's time for me to go home, Jack said, his gaze now focused on one place only. My mother and Tu Tien are waiting for me. The promise fulfilled in the rain, while Jack was speeding home. Tu Tien had already arrived at Tan Min's school. The sky unexpectedly unleashed a heavy, sudden downpour. Jack had worked today, so I came instead. But I brought presents for all of you, Tu Tien said, her voice gentle and affectionate. She laid out the fragrant cassava cakes and fried donuts. The children cheered happily. Tu Tien watched them eat, feeling a deep warmth inside. She had fulfilled Jack's promise. These cassava cakes are from my own garden. Each of you can take a few home for your parents later, okay? She said. Meanwhile, Jack, after saying goodbye to Vin, had driven home like the wind. By the time he reached the farm, the rain had eased, but the air was still cool. He watched Tu Tien step in from the gate, drenched by the rain. She had just completed his mission. She was tired, yet her face was radiant. Jack said nothing. He strode quickly toward her and embraced Tu Tien tightly. Tu Tien. You're back. Jack, breathing heavily. I'm sorry. I rushed back. You fulfilled the promise for me. Thank you. Amidst the weathered wooden gate and the lush green garden, all tension and all conspiracies vanished. They returned to their simple love, but Jack knew the story wasn't over. He had eliminated his business rival, but a peaceful life remained too fragile. The 10-year conspiracy had subsided, but Jack and Tu Tien had only just found brief peace. Jack's life was always tied to pressures and secrets. Would the truth return to affect their happiness? Dawn after the storm, the hatred was resolved. The obsession was lifted. What Jack sought after his long struggle was no longer money or power, but the warmth of family and an everlasting embrace. The warmth of reunion when Jack embraced Tu Tien in the yard. All weariness and anxiety seemed to vanish. This evening, a comforting atmosphere filled the rustic wooden house. "I am so happy, Mom. I didn't think I would run into him on the road like that," Tu Tien recounted to Jack's mother, describing their unexpected reunion. She had been on her way back after fulfilling Jack's promise, delivering the cassava cakes and fried donuts to the children in Tan Min. Jack looked at Tu Tien, his heart filled with boundless gratitude. "I'm sorry I came back late. Thank you for fulfilling my promise for me." After buying groceries at the market, the two went into the kitchen together. Jack lit the fire to grill chicken and shrimp, while Tu Tien meticulously cooked fragrant fish braised with bananas. The atmosphere grew even warmer when Jack's mother invited Uncle Dung, a close family friend, to join them for dinner. It was a complete meal after many days apart, and everyone was cheerful. While they gathered around the fire, Uncle Dung spoke softly to Jack, his voice full of hidden meaning. "Well, after that day, you didn't really have to go to the highlands for work, did you? The issues you were dealing with are all settled now." "Everything is fine." Jack understood. His business trip had been a cover for coordinating with Uncle Dung and old associates to cleanly end things with Tan, avoiding any adverse impact on his family and company. He had succeeded, preserving innocence. After dinner, when his mother and Uncle Dung had left, Jack and Tu Tien sat by the wood stove. The fire was warm, contrasting with the cold night air outside. Tu Tien leaned her head against Jack, sharing her feelings. "Honestly, I still can't believe this is real. I keep thinking I'm dreaming." She recounted the times she had dreamed of him and of his return. Jack embraced her more tightly. "I know that when you saw me, you cried because you were so overjoyed that I was back, right? I feel the same way. All I need is a peaceful life like this." He knew he had faced the darkest side of the business world, but he decided to preserve Tu Tien's simple happiness, unwilling to let her worry further. "I promise I will buy some fish to raise in the pond, so Tu Tien can take care of them," Jack said, mapping out simple but happy future plans. He promised to recycle the wood to build a new shed and make new furniture for Tu Tien. They exchanged promises for a bright future, rebuilding the farm and planting more fruit trees, caring for their animals together, like their dog Vang, who had just given birth, and specifically, a promise about a larger family. "Shall we have a whole football team of kids?" The next morning, Jack returned to the company. He called an emergency meeting to update the situation after his absence. In the meeting room, Jack displayed the demeanor of a CEO who had weathered a storm. He listened to the reports from each department. Projects. The Kyansan residential area is 60% complete. The school project is 3 days behind schedule due to bad weather. He requested overtime to make up the progress. Engineering and accounting. Cash flow is stable. Jack approved the proposal to change suppliers to save costs. Jack agreed to hire more personnel for the construction team, prioritizing longtime veterans. Jack concluded the meeting with a stern motivational speech. I hope that in the coming time, we focus on quality, progress, and safety. We are a strong collective, and if we are united, we will achieve our goals. He had resolved the personal threat and now was reinforcing his professional fortress. Jack was ready for a new life, striving for success in the business world and finding peace at the farm where Tu Tien waited. The biggest obstacle had been cleared. Simple happiness alongside Tu Tien is now his top priority. But can the life of a CEO ever truly remain peaceful in the countryside? And Uncle Dung said the issues are settled. But will the secrets of the past and the pressures of work continue to haunt Jack? Readers, look forward to part 2. The Price of Happiness. The story will continue with new challenges and important decisions for Jack and Tu Tien. Thank you for following this story. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like and subscribe so I can continue to create better videos. Thank you very much.